Trimming the bottom of your dresser can go a long way in modernizing it. And see, it's just those swirls. You can really see it on the nightstands there. This is a really classic set. It's going to be totally different. Let's get the busy hardware off, but then also trimming this base. So you can draw lines on where you want to cut. I like to use painter's tape because it's easy for me to see while I'm cutting, but it's also easy for me to move around and place exactly where I want my cut so I can see the whole thing very easily. I usually put one end on and then I'll stand at the other end and pull it tight and then make sure I get it straight exactly where I want it. So I go to this end and I just make sure I'm putting it in the right spot. This is a super easy, affordable way to do this. I mean, I'm sure you can really overthink this and use a laser level or a straight edge and draw a line. There's a lot of different ways, but painter's tape works great for me. So I'm just putting some also on this side to get the angles there, and you know, I just kind of eyeball it. And sometimes I have to redo them after I look at it, and I change the angle a little bit. Getting it pretty close is all you need. Okay, and now that I know exactly where I want to go, I did make sure to look underneath just to make sure you're not cutting into any screws or anything. But I will make that first angle, and then I'll have to go in from the other direction and make kind of a relief cut. And what this is doing is it's just giving me a place to put the blade so I can go the other direction. Otherwise you end up cutting a round corner. And we want that to be a corner, a straight corner. Okay, so now that we can get going this direction after that other cut, it's just a matter of going straight down. Now I'm just using a corded jigsaw. This one happens to be by DeWalt, but you can use any. And then I'm using a fine blade. Now, this is a rounded base, so one of the things you have to pay attention to is that you hold your saw level. Because it's round, you could hold it so that it's leaning one way or the other, and that will completely change the look once you get this cut made. So just make sure that you're actually cutting it level. And you can see me blowing once in a while, but you know, when I draw a line, I can't see it when I'm sawing because of the sawdust that comes off, it covers it. But when I use the tape, I can see where I need to cut so much better. Okay, so we get down here to the end, and you want to be careful that you don't go beyond your tape. So I usually go just almost there. I cut this one, and then I'm going to go back very slowly and just cut that little bit again, because I don't want to go too far because then I have something that I've got to fill. But there's the piece I cut off, and then I go in with my sander. I leave the tape in place. I go in with the sander and just make sure everything's straight. Again, I'm using the tape as the straight edge just to make sure. Sometimes as you're going down with the jigsaw, you can kind of veer off a little bit. So I leave the tape there. Once I've got it sanded where I want, I take the tape off and then sand the edges. Now I'm going to strip this base, so I'm doing a little more sanding than I normally would have. But here it is, all sanded, stained. I think this is a great way to really modernize everything. And it's a simple way. You don't have to replace the base, just make it look more modern. So I hope that's helpful, and be sure to follow for more.